State and local leaders say it's necessary for progress. Take a look. Here's a bird's eye view of construction on the new US 31 bypass between South Bend and Plymouth. INDOT says this new stretch of road on track to open by the end of the year. But WSBT fact finder Kelli Stopczynski found some people worry the bypass may be bad for local business.
The goal of this thing is to be able to go from South Bend to Indianapolis, or Indianapolis to South Bend, and just set your cruise control.
The trip between South Bend and Indianapolis now has a simple split in the road.
We thought it was going to hurt a little bit.
A choice for drivers.
But then it did more than a little bit.
Take the old route through town or bypass Kokomo altogether.
This is hurting everybody in this town, I know.
Nick Singh owns the Marathon gas station and convenience store on what used to be the main drag. He says his profits way down since the bypass opened 6 months ago.
20 to 25%.
A fast food restaurant that asked not to be identified told me its bottom line down 15% since November.
We just don't know.
Other businesses like Gazeki RV say they're noticing a difference.
Less semi-traffic, and that's a godsend for all of Kokomo.
But it's too soon to know if the 1 to 2% drop in sales is because of the new road.
It's been a very long winter, so we don't know the true numbers as of yet.
INDOT says between 17 and 19,000 vehicles pass through Kokomo every day before the bypass opened. But a study done several years ago said 80% of those drivers were local. INDOT doesn't know how many drivers are using the bypass. About 75 miles north, closer to home, the state says some 20,000 drivers take US 31 through Lakeville.
$50. Thank you. What happens at Casey's stays at Casey's.
$50.
Hey, Rick.
And Beth Walasevich is worried the Casey's Mini Mart and gas station where she works won't survive the new 31 bypass here.
After I've traveled down to, down through Kokomo, and just the difference of actually going through Kokomo or versus going down 31, yeah. I almost felt guilty getting on the new road.
Guilty because she did the same thing she fears many drivers will do here in a few short months. Our new 31 will take drivers around Lakeville and La Paz.
I would stop at a certain speedway in Kokomo, and I didn't stop there because I didn't drive past it.
On one hand, you're very sympathetic in terms of sort of these people have made major investments there, and then that's affected by this now.
1, 2, 3.
On the other hand, US 31's been planned for more than 50 years. It's been on the drawing board, and they've talked about building it. So it wasn't a surprise. It didn't come out of nowhere.
St. Joseph County Chamber of Commerce President Jeff Ray is also part of the US 31 coalition. That group of economic development experts from across the state started meeting 15 years ago. Ray says its goal is to prime the area, farm fields just like this one between South Bend and Indianapolis, for economic development. Specifically, he says, warehouse distribution and logistics.
But we didn't have the southern connection that those folks desired to get there. So I would tell you that over the years, those communities on I-65 and I-69 have seen 3 times the number of business prospects looking at the area than we have, because we don't have that north-south connection.
But the price of progress is frustrating to some of these small local businesses.
The state don't care. They're still getting their money or their taxes. They don't care about us.
I don't know that's true. I mean, I feel like in all the meetings I've been in for more than 15 years, there's been a lot of effort to try to accommodate as many people as they can.
In Kokomo, for example, the city annexed some property all the way to the new bypass, an attempt to stop urban sprawl and protect some of the locals already hurting.
Not to say we never would, or for a certain reason, but develop out there. But if it's just a fast food franchise or a national chain that wants to go out onto onto the virgin property out there and transfer their asset from one part of Kokomo to the other, we're obviously not interested in that happening.
Kokomo's mayor says he's never been a fan of the new bypass. He offered alternatives like adding lanes through his town or taking out some stoplights. But now he and business owners like Nick Singh know it's all they can do to deal with what's been done.
What can we do about it?
Kokomo's mayor also told me the 3 types of businesses that appear to be most affected by the new bypass there: fast food restaurants, gas stations, and hotels. But business owners also say it's only been 6 months. We're coming off of a terrible winter. They'll have a much better gauge of the bypass's impact once it's been open a year.
Yeah, and you talked about Kokomo and how badly everybody really wanted to keep all of that business there and the traffic really coming through, and how much time you spent there seeing the difference in traffic. And it's a big difference.
It's very different. Even during rush hour, there's definitely less of it. And my photographer and I noticed it when we were there. Noticed it in our video we brought back too. Just you can see open road there, and that's not what we're used to.
Vastly different from what we used to see in Kokomo.
You know, some drivers used to take the toll road to the 65 down just to skip the old Kokomo before. And our bypass now from Plymouth and South Bend set to open, what, the end of the year?
That's what INDOT says, and it should take a few more minutes off the trip to Indianapolis. That's kind of how they've touted it. There's still lots of work, though, to do around the Westfield area. About 30% of the bypass also doesn't even have money allocated for it yet, so those projects can't start until then. And I should also note, you will see parts of the bypass between South Bend and Plymouth open in July or August, but there'll be lane restrictions, so it might be kind of difficult, kind of a pain. The whole thing they hope to have open by the end of the year.
Getting close, getting real close.
Yes.
All right, Kelly, thanks so much.